Now that Vice-President Kamala Harris is closing in on the Democratic nomination to take on Republican Donald Trump, talk has turned to her running mate. She will need to pick one by the time Democratic Party delegates vote next month at a convention in Chicago to officially confirm who is on the ticket. A team to vet the people in the frame has been reportedly appointed to explore who might best stand up to the scrutiny of the national spotlight. Historically, vice presidents are picked to complement a candidate, and strategists believe for that reason she may pick a white man from a swing state. Here's a bit on the names reported to be in the mix, with an assessment of their chances by North America correspondent Anthony Zurcher. Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania governor. The charismatic governor of Pennsylvania, a state that many think is essentially must-win for Harris, has oratory skills which have drawn comparisons with Barack Obama. He would be the first Jewish vice president and has peeled off Republican voters in his home state. Shapiro has seen high approval ratings since he was elected in 2022 in a swing state Trump narrowly carried in 2016. He made national headlines last year after quickly rebuilding a collapsed bridge on a crucial Philadelphia highway, a major political victory for a first-term governor. The speedy repair was hailed by many as the perfect infrastructure talking point for a potential 2028 presidential candidate. Anthony Zurcher. He could help lock down an important, perhaps the most important, state for Ms. Harris. But his outspoken support of Israel during the Gaza war and his criticism of student protests in his state might open up divisions within the Democratic Party that the vice president is keen to avoid. Mark Kelly, Arizona senator, the former astronaut and Navy combat pilot, has an all-action edge, while his strong border stance and occasional criticisms of the Biden administration could be eye-catching for floating conservative voters. His Democratic superstar wife, Gabby Giffords, who was shot in a mass shooting, gives him a personal story as strong as his CV. The former House Congresswoman was seriously wounded and has become one of the leading voices on gun safety laws. With gun violence a major campaign issue for Democrats, Mr. Kelly's personal story could resonate with voters. AZ. Mark Kelly is from a state that Democrats would love to keep in their column. His selection would create challenges down the road, however, as Democrats would have to gear up for another pivotal Senate campaign to hold his seat in a special election in 2026. Roy Cooper, North Carolina governor. Mr. Cooper is another Democrat who has seen great success in a state that has voted for Trump twice, both in 2016 and in 2020. Along with his popularity, Mr. Cooper brings with him a deep wealth of knowledge, having served in public office since 1987. He takes credit for a booming economy, which helped him become the only Democratic governor to win in a Trump state in 2020. And he has long been friends with Harris, as both of them previously were attorneys general in their own states, so there would be no question marks about chemistry. AZ, Roy Cooper is from another electoral battleground state, and unlike some of the other possibilities, will be already leaving office at the end of this year because of term limits. At 69, his age may be an issue if Harris is looking to pick someone who can succeed her in 8 years. Andy Beshear, Kentucky governor. Mr. Beshear has carved out a successful career as the Democratic leader of a deep red state, which voted for Trump by a margin of more than 25 percentage points in 2020. That year, he became the only Democratic governor to win in a Trump state, helped by the state's booming pre-COVID economy. Supporting public education and protecting reproductive rights are also key issues for him. Kamala Harris and he have been close for a long time, so there would be no question marks about chemistry if picked as her running mate. The most youthful of those in the frame can help Harris underline the generation gap with the top of the Republican ticket. And he's not afraid of talking about his Christian faith and its impact on his personality and work, something that might endear him to parts of America beyond Harris's reach. AZ. He is from another electoral battleground state and, unlike some of the other possibilities, will be already leaving office at the end of this year because of term limits. At 69, his age may be an issue if Harris is looking to pick someone who can succeed her in 8 years. J.B. Pritzker, Illinois governor. J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, has raised his profile in recent years by going after Trump and defending Mr. Biden. The billionaire businessman, heir to the Hyatt hotel chain, is quick to post criticism of Trump on social media. After the debate, he called Trump a liar and said he is a 34-count convicted felon who cares only about himself. Like Ms. Whitmer, Mr. Pritzker has a track record of completing agenda items on left-wing Democrats' to-do lists on issues like abortion rights and gun control. AZ. He has a blunt Chicago manner that lends an air of everyman authenticity to his politics. Coming from deeply Democratic Illinois, however, may limit his appeal in the Midwestern swing states, particularly given Ms. Harris's liberal California background. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The two-term governor of Michigan is an increasingly popular Midwest Democrat who many pundits speculate will run for president one day. She is taking a leading role in the Harris campaign and once told the New York Times that she wants to see a Generation X president in 2028, but stopped short of suggesting that she might fill that role. In 2022, she led a campaign that left Michigan Democrats in control of the state's legislature and the governor's mansion. That allowed her to enact a number of progressive policies, including protecting Michigan abortion access and the passage of gun safety measures. But the 52-year-old appeared to rule herself out of the VP stakes when she told a reporter she had no plans to leave Michigan. AZ. She could help Ms. Harris lock down another key Midwestern state, Michigan, and potentially appeal to voters throughout the Midwest. The selection of the popular governor would create a history-making all-woman ticket at a time when women are a key Democratic constituency. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. It is no secret that Pete Buttigieg has presidential aspirations. He ran in 2020 and is often touted as one of the Biden administration's best communicators. Mr. Buttigieg has managed a number of public crises during his time as Transportation Secretary. He helped to oversee the government response to the East Palestine train derailment in Ohio, the Baltimore bridge collapse, and Southwest Airlines scheduling crisis in 2022. Mr. Buttigieg stated on X, formerly Twitter, that Mr. Biden had earned his place among the best and most consequential presidents in American history. He said he would do all that I can to help elect Kamala Harris the next president. AZ. Pete Buttigieg was the surprise hit of the 2020 Democratic presidential race, generating a loyal following that is still with him. His ability to adeptly define and defend the party's priorities, even in hostile territory like Fox News, could be a useful skill for a running mate. Tim Walz, Minnesota governor. The 60-year-old served 12 years as a U.S. congressman before his successful 2018 run to lead the state. His performance as governor was thrust into the national spotlight when he sent in the National Guard to deal with mass protests after the death of George Floyd. He himself had a 20-year service in the National Guard before his political career, a time when he also taught at a high school and worked as an assistant football coach. AZ. Minnesota may not be a top-line battleground state, but Tim Walz has the small-town Midwestern sensibilities to give him some cross-border appeal. While he governs from the left, his plain-spoken manner and religious convictions give him a moderate sheen. Retired Admiral William McRaven, retired Navy Admiral William McRaven, 68, cemented his legacy in Washington by overseeing the special operation that killed Osama bin Laden. He then moved into academia, becoming the Chancellor of the University of Texas for 4 years before retiring in 2018. In recent years, Mr. McRaven has emerged as a vocal critic of Trump, particularly on national security issues, and strong backer of President Biden. He went viral in 2014 for his address at a University of Texas commencement speech, in which he gave 10 lessons for living a meaningful life, one of which was to make your bed. Admiral McRaven wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post in June, calling on Americans to rise above our internal strife and political divisions. AZ. He would instantly burnish the Democratic ticket's national security credentials at a time when there are 2 major regional wars and the threat of more. But opting for a candidate with no political track record and no experience navigating the bright national stage opens a new set of risks. Other possible candidates. The list of potential nominees to the ticket stretches beyond these Democrats, as the party has developed a deep bench of talent. Maryland Governor Wes Moore found himself in the spotlight in recent months following the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. Senators Amy Klobuchar and Cory Booker have run for president in the past and have some name recognition among Democrats. And Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock, who won a closely contested Senate race in a swing state. Share your feedback, subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.